All right. All right. Settle down. Hunker down, boys. Gather around for yet another episode of this amazing modern RTS game by the name of Broken Arrow. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here. And yeah, just to be clear with you all, this game is not a public demo or a public beta for anyone just yet, but it will be releasing in June of 2025. Well, at least that's the plan so far. And today we're going to take a look at another mission here on Hard, the RU mission Blackout. Now, previously on the channel, you probably did see this mission, and we've live streamed it a few times. But now I wanted to come on back and do it on the hardest difficulty after all the things that I've learned and see if I can do better. The case is probably not, but it doesn't matter. This game's cool and I wanted to play it a lot more. And I'm very excited for it to come out. And I just wanted to let everybody know that on the channel, you may have recently been seeing some multiplayer, and you'll be seeing some more multiplayer videos as well. And those are from the beta back in November of 2024. I really think this developer should do one more final beta for everybody, because one, that would generate the hype and excitement. Two, it would also help them to test their servers for a playtest before the full release of the game, something like that. It would be great, because this game definitely, with all the work that they put into it, deserves a smooth launch. And I think it'll be pretty good and pretty smooth, but I know that the day this one drops, people are going to rush into multiplayer, and it could be down for like the first couple of days or something like that with issues, maybe. But this one, especially with it being an RTS game, really needs to launch without any sort of major flaws or hiccups in the how it runs. But the servers aren't necessarily a reflection of the game, although it is incredibly important, especially for Steam reviews and stuff. I think this game's just going to be a lot of fun. Now, recently we got access to a game by the name of Tempest Rising, and there's always RTS games coming out, but this one is the first one in a very long time that's been a modern one. A big fan here of Warno, Wargame Red Dragon, World in Conflict, that's all present here, including regiments as well. And there's a lot of great like Cold War into almost the modern era RTS games, but this is really a gem. Like, this is kind of the only one that I can think of off the top of my head that's modern and realistic. You could argue that, I don't know, Command & Conquer Generals is realistic and modern in some ways, I guess, with mods, but this one is the real deal. Of course, taking the United States and Russia against each other in a campaign that I think is going to be quite a few missions, but it's like one campaign, like you switch between the two factions from what I understand. And this will be one of the missions from that. Now, I really hope that we get more factions in the future, which they pretty much have confirmed, and we'll get a lot more stuff. Now, just before we jump into this mission, because it's a little on the shorter side, I did want to take one last little brief look here at the things in the hangar, which you can find plenty of videos here on the channel of us breaking all of these down. Now, a lot of these things are still work in progress. Right now, it's April. Like late April 2025, so the game's coming out in a few months. So some of these things here, like for example, the pictures of them might not be complete too. I think the idea is maybe eventually to have all these units look like this, the artwork. But I don't mind them actually looking like that, because from all these games that I played time and time again, and for those of you who are big fans of all these military equipment and can recognize something by its image, I think it's a little easier to recognize it from a picture than it is this little silhouette to the right side. But it all still works out pretty good, but better to see that than maybe like a stylized art thing. I don't know, it looks cool. Regardless, it's all badass and very, very cool stuff. So let's go ahead and hop into the mission then for the Russians, which also, this mission does a very good job of giving us a hint of what the actual final like animations will be like and what the mission intros will be like. I'm hoping for something along the line of Call of Duty. Remember in like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 when they'd show the global map, and then some sergeant or whatever would be talking, or Captain Price, and they'd go into this gritty like we need to save the world thing. Yeah, that'd be fine here. I'm hoping for a game to eventually capture my heart like World in Conflict did, and we'll be continuously playing World in Conflict on this channel like every couple years. I'll get bored and I'll just be like, you know what, I'm gonna play that game again, or maybe Company Heroes. I don't know. So if there's any classic RTS games you think deserve a replay through here on the channel, we've done everything from Command & Conquer Generals to, like I mentioned, World in Conflict, and also even some other games that have some really good stories as well, like Company of Heroes. I'm trying to think any others that are RTS based that have those types of things, and those are really the three that come to the top of my mind. I mean, I know games like Call to Arms are good too, but they don't have a story, but their intros are certainly like how this one is going to be. So if you compare Call to Arms to the intro of this, let me know what you think. All right, if you watched this far, don't forget to sub to the channel, hit that like button, and let's get this show on the road with Operation Blackout at the power plant. I think this is in Latvia. Yeah, I think we're going to Latvia, and we're going to shut down this plant. And I don't know exactly what's going on, like why they're doing this, but the game also is still missing the voice acting for these intermission cutscenes. But check this one out. It's pretty badass. Honestly, pretty damn good cutscene, and good opportunity to take some thumbnails from that one. Alright, Comrade Commander, choose your level of competence. For me, it's probably around medium, but I'm a war veteran at this point. I got my ass beat in this mission many a time, so let's take it away. Okay, so our objective, as I mentioned, is the power plant. Our forces are already going to automatically bring in troops to where they need to go around these two areas here. This is like a train depot and a logistics center, and there's the main power plant with the reactor hall and control rooms. And enemy forces are all around there. So we're going to come in all badass like with the alligators and the Mi-35s and start wrecking everything that moves. Now, one thing that I've noticed here in this mission is that I think we can call the choppers back before the end of this intro, and we might be able to get some points for them. And then also, the same with some of the troops that drop too. Friendly forces, AI forces will bring in VDV, and then we'll be able to, I think, kind of cash in on them and have them go back to the border. And in this mission, with all the things the Latvians will throw, Latvia's crazy, man. You Latvians, if you're watching, man, they got a lot of cool stuff, and they're going to be bringing in a lot of light vehicles, and especially the what the hell is it, the scimitar or something like that. They'll bring in a vehicle like a light tank that has an auto cannon on it that just shreds me every single time. And what we want to do is try to use automatic grenade launchers against them, and also any sort of like light AT units or whatever. I think we have some SPGs, you know, self-propelled, recoilless rifles, basically, that will be good in the buildings. We're going to go ahead and try to brace for an attack here from the enemy. They're setting up their recruits here to try to retake the power plant, so they got a lot of little light vehicles here. And the Latvians are bringing up all their reserves and things like that to try to protect the power plant or to recapture it. Spetsnaz forces will come here, and also assault engineers to try to shut down that reactor. So they're on their way. Let's go ahead and get these choppers out of here. We don't need to score any more kills or anything like that. What we really need desperately is points, and those will be fine in a moment. Cargo's coming in. We'll have random fobs dropped all around, and this gets real brutal, man. I want to know from you, by the way, as you watch this, what you would suggest for a alternative tactic. I'm trying to think of like the best ways to complete this, and it almost requires you to think outside of the box. It's not really necessarily like a skill issue. It seems to come down to RNG and like calling out units at like I don't know, the right time. But what units? I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna get rid of these VDV forces here. I want to go ahead and get VDVs out, and maybe like over in this position. And what we really want is these guys here. I don't know if we can see. Yeah, the Metis. The Metis is a really nice little recoilless rifle team with a. Actually, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's like a. Yeah, it's like a rocket with also a LMG. So that's what is most important here. Gonna focus on getting these troops out of here. All right, she wants us to defend the perimeter. We're going to try to get our troops there to that crossroad, and we're trying to minimize casualties so we get maximum point refund. So these guys, these VDV, really don't have, I mean, they've got 16 RPG-7s, but they're really not going to last very long because there's only a 5-man squad, which is crazy that they can carry actually 8 of those AT missiles. But we really want these 30mm like grenade launchers, 190 in there, to fire through the buildings, and they do a great job of shredding the enemy. I'm gonna actually move these guys over here if they can. We're gonna try to get somewhere where those missiles and those grenades can fire on the enemy. Same deal over here. They're already going to start shooting. You'll see what I mean here. Beautiful shot right in the side of a building. Oh, not quite. All right, well, they destroyed a truck there. And now these Latvian troops are stuck without a ride, a burning vehicle. They didn't waste any time, though. They bailed out and are starting to attack the target as they should. Friendly forces lobbing grenades into our building. Love that. Any losses that we take will be quickly replenished by our little fobs there. And it looks like we've captured some enemy forces, and then they'll tell us a little bit about the enemy activity in the area. Okay, let's get everything squared away here. So in a little while, that lady who pops up down here will tell us that we've got access to additional reinforcements. At a certain point, we also get access to either two, I forget what the hell it is, BRDMs or two artillery pieces. No, I think it actually is 4. Anyway, the artillery is very good, but the enemy is always constantly on the move. But I also think that a very important thing here is recon, so we might, as soon as they let us open it up, call in some recon, which will be, I think, better than the VDV, the DSH. They'll be able to see further, and I think they might just have better anti-tank capabilities overall. I don't know. Or better anti-infantry capabilities. But these grenades are awesome, because when they're bringing in all these light trucks, and even when they start their real attack, right now it's just kind of a desperate counterattack at the power plant. Like, there's been a huge call of, reinforcements, call for reinforcements. And so they're sending in anything they can. All right, looks like we burned through those supplies already. Let's go back a little bit more. And what's annoying here is that there's another guy who reminds me of Melashenko from World in Conflict. I don't know, like what he'll sound like or what his personality is yet, but he's got all these troops here, and it's like, bro, give me control, So he's just plopped down in these positions like we are, and he's not going to move. So we're just going to try to replenish our troops as quickly as possible. And get our boys back in the fight. Now, towards the end of this mission, the enemy starts artillerying. Oh my god. Well, so much for that. A couple bullets there destroyed those supplies. Holy crap. Anyway, as I was saying, the enemy artillery is going to land on these positions. It's a main objective to try to take and hold these, and it's also another main objective to try to get our vehicles out. Whenever we call in vehicles as a special supply, we have to extract those, as well as our troops, as well as his troops too. So, yeah. I would not expect a full clear in this mission. 0%. Way too difficult. Alright, let's get back into positions now. As soon as she says we can get some choppers, we'll be going for it. So another important thing here is to attempt to basically make an attempt to try to put all of these get all these buildings filled before the enemy gets a little closer. They will start bringing in their own anti-aircraft, and with our choppers, that's going to be what we call a bad time. Don't want that to happen. Wow. Enemy group on the left flank is retreating. Good. And they'll kind of keep this up. It's periodic attacks from time to time. Actually, let's get our troops a little closer to the edge. The closer the chopper is, the better. Towards the border. Those guys can go down there. Okay, so he's going to start marking enemy activity. That could also be where mortars and artillery will be firing from. And their next attack is going to be better prepared, so she's more than likely going to get on the radio and tell us, all right, we'll step it up too. Try to fight off the enemy. They're now bringing M113s. I've driven one of these before. Very cool thing. Not when it's dropping troops, though, against us. Nice that they have headlights on, though. That's kind of cool. The Spetsnaz groups are also... by the way, I may have forgotten to mention this, but in this game, if you haven't seen it before, we're able to customize some of our troops, too. So, depending on how we set it up, and I don't know if we'll be able to do that in the campaign, I assume not, but our troops come pre-equipped with certain things like Spetsnaz. You know, they have access to a ton of different weapons, and in this game, I think they have access to something called an RPO, which I think is like a napalm launcher. And I don't know if our troops are equipped with that this time. But I hope not, because we need something a little different. Alright, grenade launchers, 30 millimeters are firing at these Vilka troops here. Those seem to be elite units of Latvia. And what's cool here is that we have Latvian units, so I'm hoping that, you know, although they may not be major factions in the full game, other forces come into play later on. It'd be cool, I don't know, for some random reason during the American campaign we get access to a couple British units or something, or some Canadian units. I mean, I don't know how they're going to plan out the story or who will be where, but super cool to see other nations being represented and their protection forces as well. Grenade launchers, 190 rounds there for those. Man, they're still pounding those guys, man. Crazy. Again, the world looks so beautiful. They've done a really good job of designing things. We're going to try to keep our troops near supply. Get everybody supplied there. Okay, so now we're starting to run out of ammo, and now we should start getting some supplies. Good. And some of our supplies have been hit by enemy combatants and artillery and whatever else. These guys are going to get wiped from that main building. Our troops are starting to resupply. We're going to need every round. Okay, second wave is en route. Okay, we're really starting to be pushed on that left side. If we go into that middle, I think we're going to die. But they want us specifically just to hold this position and not the whole facility, which is annoying. Still trying to get those troops to the edge. Alright, thank God. Okay, so now we can start slowing things down a little bit. Get a chopper in here just to get those guys out. Alright, now we can start slowing things down. So this is telling us here's how to bring in units via helicopter. Here's how to, you know, get them all deployed so you can use them. Okay, so now we're going to come up with the large amount of troops that we need. So we definitely need those AGSs. I'm going to call in 2 and 2 if we can on the left. I don't think we can mix forces. Damn. Well, we're in severe attack on the left flank, so we need to bring up grenade launchers there. But they need to be kind of out of enemy sight, so let's bring them up there. We can get them closer over time. And I think each of these forces are 50, so we're going to get 200 refund plus the 100 here. So now we need to slow down time so we can micromanage all this stuff. We're going to tell all of our troops to meet behind that building, and we're going to start monitoring all these different situations. We need to keep those troops out of there. And Mi-35s are great. They're going to push the enemy back a little bit on that left flank. I need more points here to be able to do what I want to do. So remember, calling in choppers 100, and then every time it returns to the airfield, then we regain that 100 points. Okay, chopper is coming down. Pick up those guys. Cool looking helicopter. So it's going to land and start doing its thing there. Mi-35 to assist. Beautiful. Rockets going out. Latvians having a tough day. I saw a Latvian hockey game when I was in the Czech Republic. It was pretty cool. Latvians are good at hockey. They were against the Americans. The Americans played dirty. I saw it. But they put up a good fight, and that's what matters. Now let's go ahead and drop off some of our troops here. We'll have the automatic grenade launchers approach on foot. I don't want to get too close. We also need to bring in supply. We'll get a little closer now. Alright, so the Spetsnaz and the assault engineers here, the Spetsnaz to guard them and the assault engineers are in position, and they're going to start moving into the control rooms, trying to figure out what's going on in those control rooms, try to shut down the reactor, and then they're going to realize that the reactor can't be shut down because it's just way too outdated. It can't be, someone either sabotages or it's just kind of in crappy condition. No surprise. And so they're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way with circular saws. Okay, let's get that chopper retreated there. We need to bring up supply. Here, gunshots. Okay, recon. What do we got access to? These guys. These guys would be really good with their RPG-7s and their sniper rifles and things like that. Very expensive, though. We can call in a lot of these units on foot, it looked like, but the time it takes them to get there is going to be just too great. Now, once that chopper hits the border, I think we get a full immediate refund. So that'll be good. And we've given the order for that chopper to drop ASAP. Okay, AGS-30 coming in, that grenade launcher there. We need more help as quickly as we can. This is pretty much all we've got access to. ATGMs. I don't know how many rounds that has. 2? It looks like 5. 5 for the Metis and 6 for the Cornet. So they'll get one more. The enemy also will drop choppers on us too, and they'll try to transport things around with that. So we don't want them to do. We don't want them to do that. No, no. 4,000 points for supply there would be good. Alright, excellent. The choppers made it back. It's a RTB. So it may take a minute for that chopper there to despawn and we'll get a bunch of points. Okay, let's have grenade launchers get back on board. 2 of them. Let's have these guys go reinforce. Alright, good. We got a refund. Excellent. So now we're going to call in a group of that. We can only call in 4. And then what about the recon? Too much to fit there. There, we'll call in some supply too. Now the trouble with the supply is we need to call it in like right by the building. We have to drop those troops there because we want the supply to be literally next to the building so they can use it without having to abandon the position. We're going to try to bring up some supply. Okay, these guys are going to drop on the other side, over here. And we need to keep those automatic grenade launchers firing like all the time and keep them supplied. Chopper's coming in with what we just ordered. And there's our guys. they're moving into position now. Alright, we want to keep things slow because we want to monitor where the enemy is and try to micro for any sort of incoming missiles or artillery and get out of there at first sight. Go ahead and drop right behind that building there. In this mission, we don't get any supply trucks either, so everything has to be brought in and accounted for. We're going to bring in another chopper there to give them a supply. So that was my little sneaky tactic to get those VDV out of there in order to get more diversity of higher level troops for taking out vehicles, light transports, groups of infantry, and then also light tanks, with the grenade launchers being very effective. And then also the supply that they need to be able to continue to fire those weapons, which could be a lot. Alright, we're going to try to take over for the other guy and fill in the gaps in the defense. Oh, would you look at that detail on iron ore here, it looks like, and coal for steel mills. That's cool. I like that. Okay, let's make sure we renew our orders. And these guys, oh, there's a lot of AT in there. We're probably going to drop 2 of them plus supply and then have the other 2 go over to this side. This chopper's done, so let's head back. Giving that chopper orders to retreat. Or RTB, really. And go get ready to pick up more stuff. Alright, no Latvians spotted at the moment. There they are, never mind. But anti-tank is getting ready to fire at them. Missile away. Could go into the dirt, could go into the trees. Into the dirt. Shocking. Knew it wasn't going to go anywhere good. Keep 2 of those guys there. Okay, so the supply made it. That's good. Okay, 2 of those forces are on board. We're going to send them over here. And great, the grenade launchers are going to hit those targets. Worst case scenario, it's only going to panic them. That makes it very hard for them to hit. Those things are firing 50 cal, so not great for us in the buildings. Not great, not terrible. Okay, we'll get another 100 and something points back from the retreating chopper. Look at all the vehicles there. And that's why those grenade launchers are so important. We need the range to hit them. Oh. I don't know why it sped up the game quickly there. Alright, whatever. Okay, drop those supplies. Oh, looks like 3 of the troops got in. I thought it was just 2. We'll sort that out. Seems to speed up whenever he talks and then goes back to slow again. Well, those grenades are being put to good use. Yep, another M113 destroyed. Probably another one here. And pinning down the hell out of those special forces. Let's just call them special forces. It's better than whatever militia they were calling up before. I'm gonna call out some of these special recon. Those guys there. I'm gonna have one come back. That chopper can be retreated. Okay, so they've called in chopper support, but they're letting us know that the enemy's got a ton of anti-aircraft around. So it's not looking good for us. Gonna try to get our troops out of there. Save what we can and fall back to that other building. Choppers might save us here. And the game speed is all over the place. Luckily, friendly choppers will provide a little bit of aid. Right side's gonna get hit next. Pretty bad. Supply, we're gonna burn through that supply like crazy. Choppers are helping out here. That's that right there. The Vilcus right there is not great for us to see on the field. Go ahead and have these two stand there. Okay, they need to get through these forces now to fully advance. The choppers are finally dropping off our recon, which should be pretty capable of causing harm to the enemy. Okay, we're starting to face armored vehicles. And try to resupply there. Let them draw the fire while we resupply to give them hell. Back to a slow speed again. Alright, so now she's told us that these Mi-26's massive choppers can bring in some stuff for us. I think the 4 BMD-2s with 30mm autocannons here would be really good. I've gone with the 120 mortars before, the Nona SMs, and also the 30mm, but not the ATGMs before. Those might be good too, but those 30mm autocannons, I don't know. If we can micro those good enough, that might be the good choice. But again, for those of you, you know, wanting to give some advice, like what would you pick and why between these three options based on what you're about to see or what you may have seen before? I think in this case, I'm going to go with the 30mm again and try to micromanage those and keep them kind of far behind. The mortars are outstanding, though, when a target is sitting still. Damn. And this is going to help us keep these troops alive in these buildings. So I think I'm going to keep the mortars, call in the mortars, and try to keep them working in small groups. Also, this is a little bit like Bastogne in my mind, with the American troops when they faced off against the Germans But the Germans oftentimes were attacking in one position at a time, giving the Americans some breathing room. Let's go ahead and call in another supply chopper. I'm going to call that here. And those recon units will be able to shoot at the infantry with their sniper rifles, and yeah, they're pretty damn well trained. And these are like super VDV. So they've got good rifles, they've got good AT, and I think they're a little bit more resilient. Plus they're able to see, and that's good for the artillery. Okay, we're going to call in more... Wow, they survived. We're going to call in more artillery on that left side. More supply on that left side, I should say. Alright, she's telling us that the situation's becoming more complicated. No way. A lot of vehicles there on the left. There's the landing zones of our Mi-26s. I'm trying to zip in with supply again with that Mi-8. I want to try to call in one over here on the right side. We're also going to need to supply our artillery. Luckily, there's plenty of supply here, although they gobble it up like crazy. Worst case scenario, what we'll do is we'll just kind of lock down the control rooms and make our last stand there and defend the VDV and the Spetsnaz and the assault engineers. We need supply up here right now. Okay, those Mi-26s are landing. Those are some heavy big mortars in there. Chopper has been hit twice, I think, by stingers. If that chopper crashes, that's okay. We need that supply there. There goes a third missile, I think, firing. And it is now down behind the building. So the missile goes down as well. Alright, the armored vehicles are here. And the enemy does have choppers. Unfortunate. No refund for us on that one. Trying to slow things down here, but it's too fast. I don't know why we can't slow things down. What a strange mission for adjusting speed and whatnot. I'm going to have that chopper drop off supply then instead for the artillery. It's a little too close for the current situation to lose another chopper. That's what needs to die, though. Those scimitars, these things, are going to devastate our troops. I think these are British light tanks, and they're mean. And we need to get some of our troops out of there now. And they've also called out mortars on us. Great. Can't slow down time here. This would be much better for us to micro-artillery. Left flank is almost in pristine condition. Right flank, I think, is a lost cause. Unfortunately, the last mortars there. The enemy gets so much artillery right early and still can't slow down the speed. So they get a lot of mortars there that they're able to use right off the bat. I think they hit our supply there, unfortunately. But I also think we could recapture these positions too. I don't know, there could be some rebalancing to be done here in this mission in the future. Let's drop those ATGMs. Left side went from pristine, yeah, those mortars, dude. There's a scripted, event in this mission where the enemy does use artillery to dislodge you from those positions, but it comes in way too quick. As light mortars, not the artillery. Okay, so those, one mission can't be slowed down. 2, those recon are completely gone. And 3, that attack with all those light mortars, I don't know how the hell, they must have done some testing on that, but I have no idea how the hell they expect a player to maintain control of those areas. That's insanity. Practice will make perfect, though. I'm sure someone's able to do it. Now, the enemy will still continue to bring in choppers close to us, but we need, we need something else. So we're sending our choppers back. So they have captured the logistics center and the railroad now. So now we're going to focus on the second line of defense. I feel like this is how it should be scripted, where they just kind of overwhelm you and you're asked to withdraw a little earlier. And I think at this point, they tell you then to get back anyway because they've got heavy artillery. So it's like you're kind of just delaying the inevitable. Let's get those troops up. We're going to land on the backside of the power plant. That defense on the left is a little too... Yeah, there they are. Yeah, they're preparing artillery the whole time. So, I mean, should probably start retreating around the time where you start seeing the first mortars where we, lost the railroad and the logistics station. If we would have retreated right before that, we'd have all these guys here now at position, that position and here. Although this one's also kind of a lost cause because it's just too, far away. We want like a net to capture them. Damn snipers. Alright, I guess we'll pretend that this is the Gulag mission from World in Conflict now and start calling in artillery wherever we spot it, enemy units. Although being able to slow down time would be nice. Yeah, enemy choppers out there. If we could call in anti-aircraft, that'd be nice. I don't know what these units are here, but they're really powerful too. These are like their best to the best that they've got. I think these are like Jaegers and actually when we click on these we don't get to see what the composition of these troops are, so I'm not sure if they're, you know, riflemen with AT. You could probably zoom in on them to see, but at this point we got to stay zoomed out so we can micro. Again, still can't wind down the speed a little bit. All right, left flank's a little better. Oh no, the tanks. They have autocannons. They can shoot down choppers too. Enemy choppers are being shot down. I think the enemy actually fired a bunch of smoke here at this position. Kind of neat. I was going to try to get supply closer. There ain't no chance, so we'll use that for the artillery. And wounded troops. At this point, I don't think we can take one step back. Supply arrived just in time, though. All right, the first reactor has been shut down. We're going to try to start putting troops here in this corner. Man, look at those vehicles just roaming all over us. We're going to try to start landing things behind the power plant. They're going to start taking hits and getting mad at us. Ooh, burning through supply now. Seems like once they get hit by artillery too, they start smoking. Where's enemy artillery here? Is it close enough for us to deal with? Just close enough. Wait a minute. Somehow we were firing smoke rounds. Actually, in a way, that was good. It forced the enemy to come a lot closer to us for those grenades to be more accurate. Oh, look at our AGSs firing off. Beautiful. At first, I thought enemy vehicles were smoking once they were getting hit. Must have hit a hotkey there, but maybe a blessing in disguise to get the enemy closer to us. Which is good for our AGSs. Let's get these guys out back to replenish. I'm going to try to call up recon now, so they can keep an eye on the enemy, and then we can keep firing with the artillery.
На связи. Какие ваши указания? Как насчет шахты? Поддержка внимательно слушает. Все в укрытие. Вертушки на приеме.
Oh boy, things are getting quite fun now, aren't they?
Отходим на базу. Тише воды. Держи ухо востро.
We've shut down both reactors. Good, they were able to do it. Okay, now we need to protect the combat engineers while they get out. Wow. Well, thankfully, these Nonas are amphibious. Okay, we need to cover the evacuation of those engineers. They were killed during their evacuation. At least they fulfilled their mission. Well, they're actually right here. And there is a survivor. So technically she's wrong. She's an alarmist, comrade. Oh, she's right. They're dead now. They did fulfill their mission, though. Now, it's the first time I've had that happen, though, because now I'm trying to preserve my own forces rather than everything else is not in my control. Now we finally get access to the Spetsnaz and those engineers. And now the helicopters arrive. It's just so much to clear up, man. Including the anti-aircraft out there. Okay, we need to get everything we got into that position there in the middle. Including the vehicles. See if we can get into those buildings.
Минометный расчет ждет ваших указаний. Минометный расчет на связи.
What a crazy mission. I mean, I've never been able to, I think even on the easiest difficulty, not even able to complete all the objectives. Which is the one about, whatever his name's evacuation.
Да, командир. Координаты. Минометный
Are we
расчет.
supposed to... Well, the only way to get the vehicles out there would be in that square.
Армейская авиация слушает.
So, failed to evacuate our vehicles, but our vehicles are where they should be. They'd have to call out Mi-26s to evacuate those, and they just don't do that. So, who the hell knows?
Вертушки здесь. Вертушки на приеме.
And we can't tell our vehicles to move back to base, so I don't know. It's a mission that I think is going to need a little work, maybe even on the, again, on the easier difficulty, you're just not able to get Marchenko's stuff out of there. I don't know.
Минометный расчет слушает.
We'll have them known as swim home.
Вертикальная на связи. Армейская авиация слушает.
But those vehicles did survive to the buzzer, so who knows? But yeah, protecting the engineers, I think we could have tightened that up a little bit with the, maybe bringing up the recon a bit more. I'm not sure. Again, without being able to go into the slower speeds in this mission, you're just not able to move everything to where it needs to go. And so protect the engineers and cover their evacuation are both kind of important thing. But at least we shut down the reactors. That's the major thing to do. And then evacuate our vehicles. They didn't call out Mi-26s. I don't know how the hell they would have even evacuated those. But there doesn't seem to be a point on the edge for that. Marchenko, don't know. Never been able to do that one. Guy takes a loss and considers it to be a complete failure. And that railroad and logistics center is possible in the easier difficulties, but only because, you know, like, you can defend and then the enemy attacks anyway with artillery, and then they tell you to get the hell out of there. And usually because of that, you take losses anyway. All right. Well, that's all for our video today, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Hope to see you for more of Broken Arrow. But let me know all your tactics. Let me know your thoughts on what we should do in that mission. What would be a better, vehicle set to call out? What would be better tactics for where to occupy with what units and where? I'd love to know. So thank you very much for all your comments down below, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, buddy.